guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Joviana Palacio and here we talk about all things beauty. If you're not new, thank you so much for coming back. Today we are doing this look right here. In case you didn't know, Valentine's Day is next week, so I figured I'd get in a couple of looks for you guys. One very fun look, which is this guy right here. It is tons of color. It is pink, red, purple overload, and I am living for it. We've got a little bit of glitter. We've got a little bit of shimmer. Lots of glamour, lots of coverage. I got you, girl. So I know that not always do we want to be, fun and spunky and colorful, but sometimes it's cool. Like maybe you're not going on a date. Maybe you don't have a boyfriend. Maybe you're going out with some girlfriends and you want something cute. And you want something fun and classy and glam. And so this is a look for you. I hope that you guys like looks like this. I actually got a chance to try out a new palette. It was gifted to me by a friend. Shout out to you, Miss Joe. And we killed it with this look. So I'm using Ace Beauty Scarlett Dusk palette. That's this guy right here. It is full of a ton of fun colors, especially for Valentine's Day, and I was so excited to get it. In this look, I did go into detail about brushes. I know that I use a ton of brushes constantly in my tutorials, but I hope that you guys find it useful that I tell you why I'm using each brush and the sizes and what that means, just because with looks like this, blending and brush size is everything. So we do go into detail on brushes and why I use them and all that good stuff. I did go in on the face as well. Like this look overall to me is just perfect. I loved everything about it. So as part of the Valentine's Day series, real quick before we go into the video, there's gonna be this one here, and I'm also doing a very romantic, sultry type of look. So I will have a post on my Instagram for you guys to go in and comment and tell me what kind of look you're going for. Is it like a warm, plummy sultry? Is it a brown sultry? Do we wanna go dark, smoky eye? What is it? What do you want from me? Let me know so we can do a look together. It'll be super fun. Again, don't forget to subscribe to my channel because I do post every Wednesday and Saturday of the week. And look me up on Instagram, it's Joviana Palacio, and there I have a ton of fun posting different videos. We talk skincare, we talk makeup, very interactive, and I love to hear back from you guys. So without further ado, let's get into this tutorial. Started with the eye look. I've already primed my eyelid with this guy here. This is the Urban Decay Eden primer. It is honestly my go-to primer period, but especially for a colorful look like this, I love to have it on deck. Just because it's so nice, it really just neutralizes the lid, leaves it ready for color. So I'm gonna go in with my next guy. Where is it? I'm gonna use this guy right here. You guys know that I like to do this after my primer to help get a good base. A nice, easy to blend out base. This is just, this is C2, Studio Fix C2, so it is definitely lighter than my complexion. And I use it for two things. So I use it to help me do this, which is to help smooth out any texture that the primer might leave out, help to get a good blendable base to work with. But then I also use it to highlight underneath my eyes prior to baking. So multitasking, very good to use. So we're gonna go into this guy right here. This is the Ace Beauty Scarlett Dusk palette. It's this guy right here. So this guy has very pretty, beautiful colors that we're gonna work with today. I'm gonna pick up my JH30 blending brush. This is a very big blending brush, honestly. This is the biggest one that I have, but I like this when I want to cover a lot of area on my lids. So that's how I got that very nice haloed out, blown out effect with the pink. And we're going to start by picking up a pink moon, which is this guy right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just build a nice amount of product onto my brush, pack it on, get rid of the excess, and we are going to blend this out. Starting with the outer corner, I always like to put the brush down in the outer corner first to make sure that I'm getting rid of the majority of the product there. So that as we're heading into the inner corner, it is less product, easier to blend out. You just want to keep that in mind to make your job easier, to make creating this look easier. So once I had that pretty blown out, I'm gonna start going smaller or decreasing the size of my brushes. I feel like this is key when it comes to creating eye looks, whether it's this colorful or something simple. You always wanna keep in mind that the darker the color, the more intense the color, the smaller the brush should be. So this is also a Morphe X Jaclyn Hill brush. It is also a blending brush. This is the JH31. And I wanna put this down and show you how different these guys are in size. So this is the first brush that we used. Focus. There we go. So this is the first brush that we used. This is the brush that we're going into now. There are actually even different hair types as well as different sizes. So keep that in mind. We're going in smaller, same color. We're not switching that up yet. I wanna make sure that I build this color up. It's a really pretty pink color, and this look could not be the same without me blowing this up and building it out. So I am going pretty high up on the lid, above the crease even. This isn't even the crease anymore, this is way above it. But you wanna make sure you map out and you bring that into the inner corner as well so that it can match the other eye. Okay, so once you've done that, you've built a pretty good intensity. I was initially just gonna leave the eye look with one pink, but then I started seeing all the other colors and I felt like I could give it some depth and a little more detail. So I'm gonna do that by going in with the darker color, and that's Bahamas, which is right here. So it is definitely deeper pink. It's almost like a cherry pink. And I'm gonna dip into that with my absolute favorite blending brush ever. I know that buying these things is expensive. However, if you can buy a brush, and this is a very inexpensive brush, I've had it for years, it is the Morphe M433. So when we're looking at this brush, it is definitely tapered to an end. It's definitely tapered. It's a little flatter than your typical blending brush, but I love that because it can really help me detail and carve out a shape, which is what I want to do with this. So I'm gonna always grab a decent amount on the brush, guys. Get enough on the brush, get rid of the extra stuff, but building the color into the actual brush, just like you were to warm something up on your hand, is gonna help how it blends out, and it's gonna help you get a clearer, easier transition. Okay, so I don't know if you guys realize, but I have this mirror, and then I keep looking at the monitor, and I also have a mirror here, just because you want to make sure that you are, yes, getting up close and personal and looking at the closer details, but you also want to make sure that from far away you are symmetrical and that you are keeping things even, the intensity is even, the shape is even. So keep that in mind. Don't just always use something so close, because when eventually you do pull that back and you take that selfie, you're going to notice things are a little different, you know? So there was literally a fly in my nose. I feel like flies are out to get me. This is the second time something like that happens. I've put, like, drinking my wine, they like swim in there and die, and I've literally taken a sip of wine and had a fly in my mouth. Gotta shake that off, we're good. All right, so we're gonna intensify this further, start to create that nice little definition around the lid area, and we're gonna use the shade Sangria for that, and it is literally that, like that's what I would use to describe it. It is a pretty deep, plummy shade, but I'm gonna go into first with this Sephora drawing shadow brush. It looks like this. It looks like this. It's a very pointy, very small detailing brush. That's what this type of eyeshadow brush is for, and I'm only gonna use it for a specific thing. So I'm gonna take this guy here, build up the color again, and I'm gonna keep it right in the very hollow of my crease area. And so that's gonna help me define this very inner corner here with the Sangria shade without blowing it out too much. So I have to clean up less when I go in with my primer and carve out the crease. It's just easiest to do it this way in this inner corner. Do you need this brush? No. This is just me knowing that I could use this specifically for this. However, you can definitely just move on and use the next brush we're using to do the exact same thing. You just have a little more to clean up, you know? Alrighty folks, so going into one of my BH Cosmetic brushes, this is a number 7 in their marble collection. I'm gonna take that same shade Sangria, and this is what that brush looks like. So it's more of like a flared out pencil brush. It's just nice to use, especially for the outer corner, to build and blend at the same time. So I'm gonna take that, Again, get into the pan, pick up plenty of that shadow in your brush, work it into the brush before you put it on your lid. And I'm gonna do the same thing in this outer corner. I'm gonna work it into the outer corner so it meets with the crease. All right, so now to the fun / frustrating part. We are going to carve out our crease. We're gonna go back into that Urban Decay primer. And so what I need you to do is grab from the applicator directly onto the brush. I know that in the past we put the applicator to our eyelid, but I don't want that much. I've learned that the less you use, the better it is and the less likely it is to transfer. So I'm gonna actually zoom the mirror in, I'm gonna get it closer to me. And I am going to start by placing this right in the very inner corner and working my way up. Once I start getting into the center of the lid, I actually like to use dabbing, swiping motions inwards towards the inner corner so that I can blend any rough edges out. And you see that natural gradient pink into like that white base? That's what we want. We want things to be gradient. We want things to be blended out without having any clumpy texture underneath. And I actually like to run my finger over that to make sure that's what we get. All right, so once you do that, we're gonna go back into that brush from Sephora, and you don't have to add any additional product. We're just gonna take it and we're gonna run it right along the edges to make sure that we blend any lines out. Very lightly, just dusting it on. Because we're gonna move on to a very exciting part. I love this part. We're gonna take the shade Maui, which is right here. I'm gonna use this guy here. This is the JH41. It's just a fluffier stiff brush. And I wanna compare the two just so you get a chance to see. Just use a dirty mess of a brush that I just used. So this is the one that we use to carve out the crease. Do you see how much less fluffy it is than this one? Like this is just very flat and stiff. Versus the other one is a little poofier. That one helps me to blend as I'm packing and building color. The reflects on this shadow are so pretty. The light just picks up golds and pearls and pinks. It is just such a pretty color. And the contrast between this shade and the other shadows on the eyelid is just everything. So we are gonna move on to liner, and what I'm gonna do actually for red liner, I don't know about you guys, I don't have any red liner lying around, but I'm gonna use this guy right here. This is a Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid lip, and it is actually American Doll. I'm gonna take that with a Precision Smudger brush by Crown Cosmetics, and that looks like this. It just got a pointy end versus being round, and I like that to create my wing. So I'm gonna create my wing and put my lashes on, and I'll be right back. All right, so let's move on to the base, and I'm actually super excited for this because I get a chance to try out this guy. So Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. I have a mini version that I got at Sephora as part of their points, because this guy is $60, and I don't know about you guys, but $60 is a lot. So if I get a chance to try it out for the points that I get there, I absolutely will, and I highly recommend you guys do the same. This guy right here, so this is the Dr. Brandt Pore Refining Primer. It's called the Pores No More, and if you guys have not used that, I need you to go, number one, get yourself a sample, try it out. Number two, go back and buy it, and you're welcome, because it is so good for pores. It is blurring. They totally disappear. Totally 100% disappear, but it also is a treatment. It helps to absorb oil, it mattifies shine. It is, this is definitely has become one of my favorite foundations, the Smashbox 24-Hour Full Coverage Foundation. I use it in the shade 2.18. It is just so easy. You don't have to worry about building color. It is nice and matte. It is long wearing. I'm gonna take a pea-sized amount on the back of my hand, like that. Believe me, that is enough for your entire face. The coverage on this guy is amazing. And I like to build it using a kabuki brush. This one is by by Morphe and Jaclyn Hill. So what I like to do is start in the areas where I know that I have the most redness. So it's around the nose, around my mouth. And right away you can see that it's neutralizing, completely covering, and I like it. And then I will do a dollop on my cheeks area. Guys, when I tell you a little goes a long way, please believe me. Otherwise, it is gonna be cakey and you're not gonna like it. And you're gonna say, wow, Joby, I really didn't like that foundation. What's wrong with you? So I like to work that down my neck as well. Make sure that you're blending everything. And this color is pretty close to home, so I don't necessarily have to blend it out too much, but look at that coverage. And we use just a little bit. Like, I love the way that that foundation just neutralizes the redness around my nose. There's a little bit of darkness around my mouth. There's a little redness, was a little redness on my forehead, and it took care of it. So I like that. We like that a lot. I'm gonna use my current fade concealing and highlighting combo, which are these guys right here. So this is the Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer in the shade Nude. And then I have the Boing Cakeless Concealer, and that one's in 2, which is definitely a very highlighting shade for me, and I like to use the 2 to do that. But before I do, I'm actually gonna go in and bronze up and warm up my face a little bit with a cream foundation stick. This guy here is the Milk Flex Foundation Stick, and I use it in the shade Medium Tan. I love this just to help give me back some color. But I also like it because in photographs, it just looks so natural, so pretty. And medium tan is like 3-4 shades darker than me, but I like it to just, again, bring back some color. The full coverage of the Smashbox really helps to cover up and hide, but you see how just it naturally gives me that glowy, bronzy look without being orange or too muddy. I'm going to start by using my concealing shade. That's the Nude from Too Faced. And you guys know my rule. We're going to use just whatever's on this applicator. Don't re-dip into the container. That's not necessary. So we're just going to take that into the very inner corners first. So next up, I'm going to use this guy here, which is the Boing Cakeless Concealer. This is definitely way too light for me, but I like to take it around that Too Faced Born This Way concealer to help highlight, and then I'll dab it in specific areas like the center of my forehead and stuff to help build and to help glow. You don't want to use a concealer that's too light to conceal. That's why I use a combination of 2, just because I don't want it to be completely the same color as my foundation, and I don't want to be too like raccoon, too like white under the eyes either. That's where that balance comes in. If you don't want to have to use both, then I would just go with a concealer that's maybe 2 shades lighter than what your actual shade is, so that you're able to at least have best of both worlds. But honestly, you should ideally have 2. So I'm going to start by using my beauty sponge and blending out this chin contour slash highlight, and I'm going to take it right down here, and I'm going to clean up a little bit of that bronzing with whatever's remaining on this sponge. So you see how it's like a nice bronzy, and then it goes to a very highlighted center of the face. That's the look we're going for. What I'm going to do is take a smaller version of my foundation brush, and I'm going to work this area here, slightly dipping into that very top part of the inner corner, just because, again, that's where like the shadows kind of have a little bit of leftover fallout. And I want to make sure that the inner corner and the under eye area are like cohesive and illuminating from within. So I like to just kind of take my brush and work that in there. Yeah, so it starts to brighten things up, and it also kind of cleans up that inner corner for that highlight we're going to use. So I'm actually going to take the rest of the product on my nose and work it out, work it in with this brush. I really like this brush for this. I'm not a fan of blending out concealer with, like I'll lay concealer down with brushes, but I won't necessarily work them into the skin with a brush. I'll use my sponge for that, but this guy really has changed my mind on if brushes work for that or not. So check it out. This is the JH08. It's part of that Jaclyn Hill Morphe collection for face. So I'm going to go back into my actual beauty sponge, and I'm going to take a clean part of the sponge that I haven't used yet to start to work the foundation and the concealer together. So we've got our coverage. There is no buildup because we use as minimal amount as possible. Again, remember to just whatever comes out with that first swoop, and the stopper holds back the product that we honestly don't necessarily need. Just work with it, people. So I'm going to go back to that Studio Fix C2 powder, and I mentioned setting and kind of highlighting and building coverage with this, which is why I like to use a face powder that is lighter than my actual complexion to do this part. So I'm gonna take this guy, we're gonna use a tapered brush. This one is JH07, and we're gonna build, get rid of the excess, and we're gonna push down under the eye area first to set that so we don't get any creasing, but you wanna push this into place. So this is not only gonna help to mattify, absorb, and blur that area, but it is also helping to highlight and set. So anywhere where we set, anywhere where we put the concealer down, we wanna make sure that we set with this powder. And right here, we're gonna use the Hourglass Mineral Veil Primer. I love that this isn't just a flat, opaque, like matte powder. It has a little bit of a glow and a radiance to it. It is very thin, I love it. This one and the Kat Von D setting powders are amazing. So I'm working that, pushing that into the skin. You always want to push into the skin. You never just want to set it and keep going. You want to work it into the skin so that everything just looks like it is literally one layer. Different color in that Studio Fix foundation. This is C5.5. We're going to take that on this BH Cosmetics kabuki brush that I like to use for powders and just dust off that Hourglass setting powder, but also set the rest of my foundation. Not that this foundation needs it, I just like to make sure that everything is in its place, especially if I'm planning on wearing it for a long time. And at Sephora, I do tend to run around quite a bit, and like there is a little bit of dewiness, condensation that happens in the face, so this really helps to just lock it, lock it, lock it, lock it. So the next thing I'm gonna do is go in and bronze. I am going to, because I love the way that that cream foundation from Milk leaves my face, I'm just gonna use one product to contour / set that bronzer, and that's this guy here. So this is the Hoola Benefit Bronzer in the original shade. I'm gonna take that on a JH05 brush, and we are just gonna go along the edges of that and then above the temples to just build and see how I feel. Let's finish up the under eye area, and for the under eye area, I'm gonna go back into our eyeshadow palette. And what I'm gonna do is take Bahamas and Sangria, which are the last two colors that we used, to really build that color up. But I do want to go in with Pink Moon to give it like a nice glowy pink moment under there as well. Love it. In Natural Fashion, I'm going to do a lighter waterline, but I'm going to go into white. This guy is by NARS. It is their Larger Than Life liner in Santa Monica Boulevard. I like that, it's different. It like opens up the eye and helps to like go with that. So I'm going to go in with my Roller Lash Mascara to do the lower lashes. I like the curve of this mascara. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but it's curved, so it really does help to really grab the shape of your eye without you having to struggle too much. I literally put it right up against my lower lash line and just build. And there honestly might not be anything left to dust off, but that's what I like about that powder, is that it absorbs into the skin, which means that when you're layering powders like this, it's called baking because your body just warms up, it heats up throughout the day. And so what happens is that that coat of powder that we left on there will then melt and then set your skin as the day goes on. That's why it's called baking. So I'm not mad at the fact that there isn't anything to brush off. Let's go into highlighting. I want to highlight with something a little more festive, like glowy, pretty, pinky even. So for things like that, I like to go into this guy right here. It is the Alchemist palette by Kat Von D. It's got just some really pretty holographic holographic highlighting powders that are like really gorgeous on. So I'm gonna go into Pink Opal. I'm gonna take that same color and I'm actually gonna go into the inner corner with it. And I like to look back and bring it in. so everything just kind of blends. Alright guys, so I've got just the lips to put on, but let me change my outfit, do my hair, and I'll be back on to do the lips with you guys, and we can talk about the slayage that just took place. I'll be right back. Alrighty, so I am back. Hair is up in that high power pony. I've been feeling power ponies for a little bit now, so I do them often. Don't judge me. So for lips, we actually ended up doing a ombre lip, and not on purpose. I didn't realize that I threw out all of my hot pink lips for whatever reason, and I just had this, so we used it. And I'm actually quite happy with the way it came out. It like ombreed into almost, like it did everything well. So I'm happy, can't complain, you know? So what I used was the Bite Beauty lip liner in 96, which is like a pretty fuchsia, like true pink type of color. It was really pretty with this guy. It is a Lancome lippy. It's called Socialite. It's a matte finish, but it's very comfortable on. And so that is the combo for the lip. And that is it for the look. I actually forgot to even put blush, and I pulled out this Monica Dar Beauty Paradise blush, which is almost like a peachy undertone to just kind of offset all the pink going on, just because there's a lot. But I think we did it. We did a fun Valentine's Day inspired look, and I'm quite proud with what I came up with. I feel like it was really easy for you guys to follow along, and I hope that you guys found it easy to follow along. I am planning on doing a very romantic, sultry type of look for right before Valentine's Day, so be on the lookout for that. That's it for this look, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button so I know that we like color on this channel. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I upload every Wednesday and Saturday like clockwork, so that you guys can see videos like this and so much more. I'll see you guys next time.